How accountable are you for the fact that Washington can't get anything done and that we are at this deadline again?
Well, I have to tell you, David, if you look at my track record over the last 2 years, I cut spending by over $1 trillion in 2011. I campaigned on the promise of being willing to reduce the deficit in a serious way, in a balanced approach of spending cuts and tax increases on the wealthy while keeping middle-class taxes low. I put forward a very specific proposal to do that. I negotiated with Speaker Boehner in good faith and moved more than halfway in order to achieve a grand bargain. I offered over $1 trillion in additional spending cuts so that we would have $2 of spending cuts for every $1 of increased revenue. I think anybody objectively who's looked at this would say that, we have put forward not only a sensible deal, but one that has the support of the majority of the American people, including close to half of Republicans.
But when they say leadership falls on you, Mr. President, you don't have a role here in breaking this impasse? You've had a tough go with Congress.
David, at a certain point, if folks can't say yes to good offers, then I also have an obligation to the American people to make sure that the entire burden of deficit reduction doesn't fall on seniors who are relying on Medicare. I also have an obligation to make sure that families who rely on Medicaid to take care of a disabled child aren't carrying this burden entirely. I also have an obligation to middle-class families to make sure that they're not paying higher taxes when millionaires and billionaires are not having to pay higher taxes. There is a basic fairness that is at stake in this whole thing that the American people understand, and they listened to an entire year's debate about it. They made a clear decision about the approach they prefer, which is a balanced, responsible package. They rejected the notion that the economy grows best from the top down. They believe that the economy grows best from the middle class out. And at a certain point, it is very important for Republicans in Congress to be willing to say, we understand we're not going to get 100%. We are willing to compromise in a serious way in order to solve problems as opposed to be worrying about the next election.
You said that